Most men hear a title like this and immediately think there's a secret spot on her body that unlocks desire like a button. That is exactly why most men lose before the night even begins, because the desperate man looks for a trick. The disciplined man understands a pattern. Listen carefully. There's no magical place you can touch, kiss, or press that will override a woman's instincts and make her want you. That fantasy belongs to weak men, impulsive men, blind men, men who think attraction is a move instead of a state, men who think tension is created by force instead of perception, and that blindness costs them everything. Because the deeper truth is darker than it looks. When a woman wants to go home with you, it usually has very little to do with one isolated action and everything to do with what that action means, the signal beneath the signal, the emotional atmosphere around it. The way your restraint, timing, presence, and control make her feel that she is with a man who sees more than he says, wants more than he reveals, and chases less than every other man in the room. That is where the real game begins. Most men rush toward the body because they have no command over the mind. They escalate too fast, talk too much, laugh too hard, explain too often, seek too much approval. They telegraph hunger, and hunger is loud. Hunger is clumsy. Hunger kills kills tension faster than rejection ever could. A strong man doesn't just ask, "What do I do?" He asks, "What am I signaling?" That question changes everything because attraction is rarely built by what is obvious. It is built by what is felt. It lives in pauses, in eye contact that doesn't flinch, in calmness that doesn't perform, in a touch that arrives at the right moment instead of 10 moments too early, in the sense that this man is fully aware of what is happening, but fully in control of himself. And that control is where desire starts to deepen. The Stoics understood something modern men keep forgetting. Power begins with self command. If you cannot govern your impulses, you cannot read reality. If you cannot read reality, you will misread women, misread tension, misread interest, and misread danger. You will chase what isn't there and ruin what could have been there. You will confuse fantasy for opportunity. And that is how weak men create their own humiliation. So let's strip the illusion away. When men ask where to kiss her, if they want the night to move forward, what they are really asking is this: what creates trust without killing tension and tension without breaking trust? What makes a woman feel seen instead of handled, desired instead of targeted, safe without feeling bored, excited without feeling pressured? That is the real question. And by the end of this, you'll understand why the answer is not hidden in some cheap line or seductive trick. It's hidden in timing, emotional discipline, and the ability to read what most men never notice. Because the place that matters most is not just physical, it's psychological. And once you understand that, your entire presence changes. Now, pay attention. Most men fail before the kiss ever happens, not because they are unattractive, not because they said the wrong sentence, but because they carry the wrong energy. Their attention is not grounded. It is reaching, grabbing, leaning, hoping. They're trying to get somewhere instead of being somewhere, trying to force chemistry instead of allowing tension to build under control. A woman feels that immediately. She may still smile, she may still flirt, she may still enjoy the attention, but deep down she knows whether you are present or needy, whether you are choosing or chasing, whether you are leading the moment or begging the moment to save you from your insecurity. And this is where weak men fail. They think attraction is about doing more compliments, more touching, more teasing, more performance, more cleverness. But the deeper truth is that women often become more curious when a man does less with more precision. When he doesn't flood the spacer with nervous energy, when he leaves silence untouched, when he isn't desperate to prove that he is fun, charming, bold, or wanted. Because a man who is always proving is a man who is not convinced. And women read conviction better than men read body language. So when we talk about where to kiss her, understand what you're really dealing with. You're dealing with meaning. The same physical action can land as electric, affectionate, awkward, manipulative, premature, or deeply attractive, depending on the atmosphere around it. The action matters less than the frame. Most men completely misread this. They think the move creates the moment. No, the moment makes the move. A kiss is powerful when it confirms what is already building. It is weak when it tries to create what isn't there. That distinction is everything. If you miss it, you become just another man trying to harvest intimacy before earning emotional permission. And women can feel that theft before a hand even moves. So what is the first place that matters? Her mind, not in the soft, poetic sense, in the real sense, in the instinctive sense, in the sense that before a woman trusts your touch, she has to trust your rhythm. She has to feel that you're not chaotic, not overeager, not unpredictable in the dangerous way, not performing confidence while leaking insecurity through every pause. A woman's mind opens when your behavior is coherent. Your words, eye contact, pacing, tone, and restraint all tell the same story. You are calm, you are aware, you are interested but not overcome. You are attracted but not sloppy. You are masculine enough to move slowly when moving slowly is stronger. That creates something rare, emotional safety without softness, tension without pressure, desire without chaos. And once that frame is established, a simple kiss can carry far more force than aggressive escalation ever will. Here's the truth: most men never hear. The kiss that often changes the night is not the one loaded with hunger, it is the one loaded with certainty and restraint. It says, I'm here. I know what this is. I'm not confused. I'm not begging, and I'm not rushing you. That kind of composure hits deeper than theatrics because it speaks to a woman's instincts, not just her attention, and instincts decide more than words ever will. Think about the difference between two men. The first man is visibly trying to win the night. He touches too often, smiles too hard, keeps searching her face for approval after every sentence. When the moment comes, his kiss feels like a question he desperately wants answered. Everything in him is asking, did I do it right? Do you like me? Are we going somewhere? That energy collapses attraction. The second man is slower, more measured. He notices, he listens without trying to appear perfect. He lets her invest. He gives her space to move closer instead of constantly entering her space first. When he kisses her, it doesn't feel like a gamble. It feels like alignment, something that was already true, finally becoming visible. That difference is invisible to weak men, but women feel it instantly. Now let's go one layer deeper. There is a reason certain gestures land harder than obvious seduction. A kiss on the forehead, for example, can be more powerful than a dozen hypersexual moves when the chemistry is real and the timing is right. Why? Because it doesn't scream need. It signals protection, control, steadiness, and emotional confidence. It says you are comfortable enough in your masculinity that you do not need to devour every moment. You can hold intensity without rushing to consume it, and that is rare. But here's the catch. If you hear that and think, good, I'll just kiss every woman on the forehead, you have already missed the lesson again, because it is not the location alone. It is the meaning carried by the timing, the eye contact before it, the pause after it, the mutual comfort that makes it natural instead of strange. Used blindly, even a gentle gesture becomes awkward. Used with awareness, it becomes unforgettable. This is what disciplined men understand. They do not memorize tricks, they study patterns, they know that women are not responding to choreography, they are responding to congruence, to emotional calibration, to whether your actions fit the moment or try to hijack it, to whether your touch feels like an extension of connection or an attempt to manufacture it. That is why observation is power. Notice how she holds eye contact. Notice whether she lingers close after laughing. Notice if she creates small unnecessary reasons to touch you. Notice if her energy softens around you instead of becoming guarded. Notice whether silence between you feels strained or charged. Notice if she is leaning into the moment or politely surviving it. These are not small details. These are the map. Most men ignore the map because they're addicted to the destination, and that impatience reveals weakness. A man who cannot wait for the signal will force the signal. A man who forces the signal destroys the atmosphere. A man who destroys the atmosphere blames women, blames modern dating, blames games, blames everything except his own lack of emotional control. But the deeper truth is this: impatience is self-exposure. It tells her you are ruled by your urges, and a man ruled by his urges is not a man she fully trusts. Now pay attention, because this part matters. Attraction is not just about desire. It is also about contrast. Women spend a great deal of time around men who are noisy with intent, men who tell on themselves too quickly, men who reveal the whole script in the first 10 minutes, men who become easy to predict because their lust is sitting in the front seat with both hands on the wheel. When you are composed, you create contrast. You stand out because you are not trying to take more than the moment is offering. You are not trying to secure the outcome before the chemistry has breathed. You are not emotionally collapsing into fantasy while she is still deciding whether your presence feels grounded. That steadiness becomes magnetic because it is uncommon, and that changes the temperature of the entire interaction. She relaxes more, she reveals more, she tests less, she becomes curious. Curiosity is crucial. Men obsess over attraction while ignoring curiosity, but curiosity is often the bridge between interest and pursuit. When a woman feels that there is depth in you she hasn't fully reached, when your calmness suggests layers rather than emptiness, when your attention feels deliberate rather than cheap, her investment begins to grow. She starts leaning in emotionally, not just physically, and once her investment grows, escalation becomes mutual, not forced, not guessed, mutual. That is the only kind worth having. If you value truth over illusion, subscribe now, not for empty advice, for clarity, for the patterns most men miss because they're too busy reacting. And if you've ever seen the difference between needy intensity and grounded presence, comment restraint below. Because once you recognize that pattern, you stop moving like the crowd. Now let's sharpen the blade even further. One of the most powerful things a man can do is remain unhurried in a culture addicted to urgency. Everyone wants instant chemistry, instant validation, instant outcomes, but urgency is often insecurity wearing confidence as a mask. The man who is always trying to accelerate the night is usually trying to escape uncertainty inside himself. A grounded man doesn't need to escape uncertainty. He can hold it. That ability is intoxicating because it feels strong. He can enjoy the tension without scrambling to resolve it. He can sit in the silence without filling it. He can feel desire without becoming obedient to it. He can move closer without losing his center. That is masculine containment. And women feel it more deeply than men realize. Because underneath all the performance and social noise, many women are asking a question they will never state directly. Does this man have enough command over himself to make me feel calm inside intensity? Not safe because he is timid. Safe because he is controlled. Safe because he doesn't become reckless the moment desire enters the room. Safe because he sees me clearly enough not to turn the moment into a selfish performance. That is why certain small gestures can become decisive. A kiss on the forehead, a slow pause with your hand at her waist while reading her response, a moment where you pull back slightly instead of lunging forward, a look that says more than words without demanding anything. These things communicate abundance of control. And control, when real, has gravity. But here's what most men miss. Control is not suppression. It is not coldness. It is not pretending not to care. That fake detachment is just another form of performance. Women read that too. Real composure is warm, aware, and deliberate. It has pulse, it has presence, it has emotional depth under discipline. That balance is rare. Too soft and you feel uncertain. Too aggressive and you feel unsafe. Too detached and you feel unavailable, but calm, grounded, and precise. That is where the tension breathes. Now imagine the scene. You're with a woman. Conversation has slowed in the best way, not because it died, but because words have become less necessary. She's closer than she needs to be. Her body language has softened. Her eyes stay on you a little longer. She isn't looking for exits. She isn't scanning the room. She's inside the moment. Weak men panic here. They think, this is it. I have to act now before I lose it. And that panic ruins everything. They rush, they overdo it, they try to seize the moment as if it belongs to whoever grabs it first. But the stronger move is slower. You let the silence live for one more second. You read her, you don't assume, you don't fantasize, you stay present. And when you move with calm certainty, not greed. If the connection is there, even a gentle kiss can feel like a current running through the whole night. Not because it was dramatic, because it was right. Right timing beats aggressive intent every time. And this is why the title, in its deeper sense, is misunderstood. Men think take her home tonight is the prize. It isn't. The prize is becoming the kind of man whose presence makes a woman feel she can trust the night with you. Not because you outmaneuvered her, not because you pressed the correct buttons, because your self-command, your awareness, your restraint, and your timing created a reality that felt better than the chaos she's used to. That is a different level of masculinity. It does not beg, it does not perform, it does not manipulate, it leads by emotional steadiness. And yes, sometimes the most powerful kiss her here is not about heat at all. It is about calm, forehead, temple, hairline, a gesture that says, without saying, I'm not here to consume you, I'm here with you. When that lands inside real chemistry, it can create more desire than obvious lust ever could because it bypasses her defenses and speaks directly to instinct. But never forget the law beneath the law. No gesture works without mutual desire, no move matters without consent, no technique can replace emotional intelligence, and no man becomes powerful by turning women into puzzles instead of people. That is where the internet poisons men. It teaches strategy without discipline, moves without perception, escalation without ethics, confidence without self mastery. So men become theatrical, predictable, hollow. They know what to do with their hands, but not what to do with their presence. And presence is what women remember. The truth is, a woman will forget half the words you said. She may even forget the sequence of the night. But she will remember how your energy felt, whether you made the atmosphere heavier with need or steadier with calm, whether being around you made her nervous in the wrong way or relaxed in the right way, whether your masculinity felt impulsive or anchored. That memory decides more than most men understand. Here's another layer. A woman often tests without announcing it, not always through games, sometimes through ambiguity, through pauses, through whether she can feel you getting ahead of reality. She wants to know if your center is real or if it falls apart under pressure. If one warm look makes you reckless, she learns something. If one intimate moment makes you needy, she learns something. If one delay makes you sulk, push, or overtalk, she learns something. Strong men pass these tests without trying to. Why? Because they're not performing strength, they're living from it. They do not need every sign to become an outcome. They do not need every woman to become a victory. They do not need every charged moment to become a story. They can enjoy chemistry without clinging. They can feel attraction without losing judgment. They can desire without becoming desperate. That freedom is seductive because it is powerful. And power, in its cleanest form, is inner stability. So when the night deepens, when she looks at you in that quieter way, when the room seems to narrow and words start falling away, remember this. The goal is not to do the most. The goal is to remain the most aware. Read what is true, not what you wish were true. Let the moment reveal itself. Don't drag it into existence with impatience, because the man who can read tension without rushing it is the man who usually never has to chase it. That is the irony. Weak men try to force desire and end up killing it. Strong men respect the moment, and desire often comes toward them. Not always, nothing is always. Reality doesn't work that way. But the pattern is clear enough that men who understand it stop embarrassing themselves. They stop lunging at chemistry that has not matured. They stop mistaking politeness for invitation. They stop confusing fantasy with signal. And because of that, when the real signal comes, they are calm enough to recognize it. Calm men see more. Seeing more gives you better timing. Better timing creates cleaner moments. Cleaner moments create trust and tension together. That is the chain, and that chain matters far more than any cheap fantasy about a magic spot. So let's bring it home. If there is a place that changes the night, it is the place where your restraint meets her trust, the place where your composure meets her curiosity, the place where your awareness is so sharp that your actions do not feel invasive, forced, or confused. They feel natural, earned, aligned. Sometimes that shows up in a quiet kiss on the forehead, sometimes in a slower, more deliberate pause before the lips, sometimes in doing less and letting her come closer. But in every case, the real force is the same: self command. That is what weak men lack. That is what women feel. And that is what separates cheap intensity from real masculine presence. So the next time you feel the urge to search for a trick, stop, watch yourself. That urge is telling on you. It is exposing impatience, fantasy, and a lack of trust in your own ability to read reality. Kill that weakness at the root. Replace it with observation. Replace it with discipline. Replace it with the kind of composure that does not need to rush desire to feel powerful. Because disciplined men do not react blindly. They observe, they calibrate, they move with purpose. They let the truth of the moment speak louder than their hunger. And when they do touch, when they do kiss, when they do move the night forward, it carries weight, not because the gesture is extreme, because the man behind it is solid. That is the deeper truth behind the title, not where your lips land, what your presence means. If you understand that, you stop acting like every other man, you stop chasing shortcuts, you stop broadcasting need, you become quieter, sharper, more dangerous in the right way, not reckless, not manipulative, but deeply grounded. A man whose restraint creates tension. A man whose calm creates safety. A man whose awareness creates power. And that kind of man rarely needs to ask what move comes next. He can feel it. If this sharpened your perception, subscribe. If you recognize how much modern men sabotage themselves by moving without awareness, comment composure. And if you want more on attraction, discipline, and the hidden patterns of human nature, stay close. Because the men who learn to see clearly are the men who stop living blindly.